Sometimes the people we love most are living double lives that we never suspect, and sometimes the truth that emerges after they're gone can either destroy us or set us free in ways we never imagined. What I'm about to tell you is a story that will challenge everything you think you know about marriage, trust, and the secrets people keep even from those closest to them. This is the shocking true story of how one woman's discovery in her late husband's phone revealed a truth so unexpected that it would change not just her understanding of her marriage, but the lives of people she had never even met. The story begins in San Diego, California, in March 2023, when 36-year-old Amanda Richards was trying to piece her life back together 3 months after her husband's sudden death. Her husband, Michael Richards, had been 38 years old when he died in a car accident on a rainy December night, leaving Amanda alone with their 2 young children, 7-year-old Sophie and 5-year-old Jake. Michael had been Amanda's college sweetheart. They had met at UC San Diego when they were both 20 years old, had fallen deeply in love, and had built what Amanda thought was a perfect marriage. Michael worked as a software engineer for a tech company. Amanda was a part-time graphic designer who worked from home so she could be there for their children, and they had created a comfortable, happy life together in their suburban San Diego neighborhood. Michael's death had been sudden and devastating. He had been driving home from work during a storm when another car had run a red light and hit him broadside. He had died at the scene, and Amanda's world had shattered in an instant. In the 3 months since his death, Amanda had been functioning on autopilot, getting the kids to school, going through the motions of daily life, and trying to figure out how to move forward without the man she had loved for 16 years. She had finally started the difficult process of going through Michael's belongings, deciding what to keep, what to donate, and what to throw away. It was while going through Michael's dresser drawer that Amanda found his old iPhone, the one he had replaced with a newer model about a year before his death. The phone was dead, but Amanda remembered that Michael had always kept his old devices as backups. She charged it up, thinking there might be photos or videos of the kids that she could save. When the phone powered on, Amanda entered the passcode that Michael had always used for everything, their wedding anniversary, and started looking through the photo gallery. Most of what she found was exactly what she expected: photos of family vacations, birthday parties, and everyday moments with Sophie and Jake. But then Amanda noticed a messaging app she didn't recognize. It was called Secure Chat, and it promised encrypted, private messaging. Amanda had never known Michael to use this app, and she felt a knot of anxiety form in her stomach as she opened it. What she found made her feel like the floor had dropped out from beneath her. There were hundreds of messages between Michael and someone named Jay, dating back over 4 years. The messages were intimate, loving, and clearly indicated a relationship that went far beyond friendship. Amanda's hands shook as she read message after message that proved her husband had been living a secret life. "I can't wait to see you this weekend," one message from Michael read. "These 2 weeks apart have been torture. I love you so much," read another. "I wish we didn't have to hide this, but I understand why we do." Amanda felt sick. Her husband, the man she had trusted completely, the father of her children, had been having an affair for years. And based on the messages, it wasn't just a casual fling. This was a deep, emotional relationship that had been going on for a significant portion of their marriage. Amanda spent hours reading through the messages, each one feeling like a knife to her heart. She learned that Michael had been meeting with Jay regularly, that they had taken trips together under the guise of Michael's work travel, and that they had been planning some kind of future together. But the most confusing part was that the messages stopped being romantic around 6 months before Michael's death. The final messages in the thread were from Jay, and were heartbreaking in a different way. "I understand you need to do this," one message read. "But it doesn't make it hurt any less. Please just promise me you'll take care of yourself," read another. "And please don't forget about me completely." Michael's final message to Jay was dated 6 months before his death. I will never forget you. You changed my life in ways I can't even explain. But this is the right thing to do. I hope you can forgive me someday." Amanda was confused. The messages suggested that Michael had ended the affair 6 months before his death. But why? And who was Jay? The messages gave no indication of the person's identity beyond that single initial. Amanda knew she needed to find out the truth. She owed it to herself, to her children, and to the memory of her marriage to understand what had really been going on. She spent days trying to figure out how to trace Jay's identity through the app, but the encrypted messaging system was designed specifically to protect users' privacy. Finally, Amanda decided to take the phone to a tech-savvy friend, David Chen, who worked in cybersecurity. She explained the situation, and David agreed to help her try to trace the messages. "I need to warn you," David said, "that whatever you find out might be harder to know than not knowing. Are you sure you want to do this?" "I have to know," Amanda replied. "I can't move forward without understanding what happened." It took David 3 days of digging through the phone's metadata and technical details, but he finally managed to trace Jay's phone number through some of the app's technical logs. He ran the number through various databases and finally came up with a name and address. "The person your husband was messaging is named Jordan Martinez," David told Amanda. "Male, 35 years old, lives in North Park." Amanda felt like she had been punched in the stomach. Michael had been having an affair with a man. Her husband, who she had been married to for 14 years, had been living a secret life that went far beyond just infidelity. He had been struggling with his sexuality in a way that she had never suspected. "Are you okay?" David asked, seeing the look on Amanda's face. "I don't know," Amanda replied honestly. "I don't know what I am." Amanda spent the next several days processing this information. She was angry, hurt, and confused, but she was also starting to understand some things about Michael that had never quite made sense before. The emotional distance he sometimes kept, the way he sometimes seemed sad even when they were happy, the feeling Amanda had sometimes had that Michael was hiding something from her but could never quite articulate. Finally, Amanda decided she needed to meet Jordan Martinez. She needed to understand what had happened, who this person was, and what their relationship with Michael had truly been. She found Jordan's address and drove to North Park, a trendy neighborhood of San Diego known for its diverse community and arts scene. Jordan lived in a small apartment above a coffee shop. Amanda sat in her car for 30 minutes, gathering her courage, before finally walking up and knocking on the door. When Jordan opened the door, Amanda was struck by how ordinary he looked. He was about her age, casually dressed, with kind eyes that immediately filled with confusion when he saw Amanda standing there. "Can I help you?" Jordan asked. "My name is Amanda Richards," she said. "I think you knew my husband, Michael." The color drained from Jordan's face. "Michael? I heard about what happened. I'm so sorry for your loss. Can we talk?" Amanda asked. "Please. I need to understand what happened." Jordan hesitated, then nodded and invited Amanda inside. His apartment was small but nicely decorated, filled with books and artwork. They sat down in his living room, and for a long moment neither of them knew how to begin. "I found messages on Michael's old phone," Amanda finally said. "Between you and him. I know about your relationship." Jordan closed his eyes and took a deep breath. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I never wanted to cause you any pain." "I need to know the truth," Amanda said. "All of it. Who was Michael to you?" What Jordan told Amanda over the next 2 hours was a story that was both heartbreaking and illuminating, and it changed her understanding of everything. Michael and Jordan had met at a professional conference 5 years earlier. They had started talking, had felt an immediate connection, and had eventually begun a relationship that Michael had kept secret from everyone in his life. Michael had struggled with his sexuality his entire life, Jordan explained, but had been afraid to come out because of his conservative family background and his fear of losing everything he had built. He loved you, Jordan told Amanda. That part was real. He loved his children more than anything. But he was also living a life that wasn't entirely authentic to who he was, and it was tearing him apart. Jordan explained that their relationship had been intense but complicated. Michael had been torn between his love for his family and his need to explore this part of himself that he had suppressed for so long. They had talked endlessly about what to do, whether Michael should come out, whether he should leave his marriage, whether there was any way to reconcile all the different parts of his life. About 6 months before he died, Jordan continued, Michael made a decision. He told me he couldn't continue our relationship because it wasn't fair to you, it wasn't fair to his kids, and it wasn't fair to me. He said he needed to either commit fully to his marriage or leave it, and he chose to commit to his marriage. But why didn't he tell me? Amanda asked, tears streaming down her face. Why didn't he trust me enough to tell me the truth about who he was? He was afraid, Jordan said simply. He was afraid you would hate him, afraid he would lose his children, afraid his family would reject him. Fear makes people do things that don't make sense to anyone else. Jordan pulled out a box from his closet and handed it to Amanda. Michael left this with me, he said. He asked me to keep it safe, and he said that if anything ever happened to him, I should find a way to give it to you. I've been trying to work up the courage to contact you, but I didn't know how. Inside the box was a letter addressed to Amanda, along with a journal that Michael had been keeping. Amanda's hands shook as she opened the letter. My dearest Amanda, it began. If you're reading this, then something has happened to me, and you've found out about Jordan. I can only imagine how betrayed and hurt you must feel, and I'm so sorry for all the pain I've caused you. I want you to know that I loved you. I still love you. That was never a lie. But I also need you to know that I wasn't entirely honest with you about who I was, and that dishonesty has been eating away at me for years. I'm bisexual. I've known this about myself since I was a teenager, but I was taught that it was wrong, that it was something to be ashamed of and hidden. When I met you, I thought I could just be the straight man everyone expected me to be, and for a long time, I thought I was succeeding. But then I met Jordan, and I realized I couldn't keep denying that part of myself. Our relationship was wrong because I was married to you, but it was also the first time in my life that I felt like I could be completely honest with someone about who I really was. 6 months ago, I made the decision to end my relationship with Jordan and commit fully to our marriage. I realized that I was hurting everyone, you, Jordan, and myself, by trying to live in two worlds. I chose you and our children because you are my family, and I love you more than anything. But I also knew I needed to tell you the truth about who I am. I've been trying to find the courage to have that conversation with you, to explain my sexuality and my struggles and to ask for your forgiveness and understanding. I don't know if I'll ever be brave enough to actually have that conversation, but I hope that if something happens to me before I do, this letter will help you understand. I'm so sorry for the secrets I kept and the lies I told. You deserve better than that. But please know that my love for you and for Sophie and Jake was always real, always true, and always the most important thing in my life. With all my love, Michael. Amanda sobbed as she finished reading the letter. She felt grief, anger, betrayal, and sadness all mixed together in a way that was almost overwhelming. But she also felt something else, a strange sense of clarity and understanding about the man she had been married to. Over the following weeks, Amanda continued to meet with Jordan. They formed an unlikely friendship based on their shared love for Michael and their shared grief over his death. Jordan shared stories about Michael that Amanda had never known, and Amanda shared stories about their family life that Jordan had only heard about secondhand. He talked about you and the kids constantly, Jordan told her during one of their meetings. He would show me pictures and videos, and you could see how much pride and love he had for his family. I was sometimes jealous of what you had with him, even though I knew it was complicated. Through Jordan, Amanda learned about parts of Michael's personality that he had kept hidden from her: his love of art and poetry, his deep thinking about identity and authenticity, his struggles with depression and anxiety that he had never been able to fully articulate to her. Amanda also read through Michael's journal, which documented his internal struggles over the years. She saw a man who was trying desperately to be a good husband and father while also dealing with parts of himself that he didn't know how to integrate into his life. She saw someone who was in pain but who was also trying his best to do the right thing, even when he wasn't always sure what the right thing was. The process of understanding Michael's secret life was painful, but it was also liberating in an unexpected way. Amanda realized that Michael's deception hadn't been about not loving her, it had been about his own fear and shame around his sexuality. She also realized that the 6 months before his death, when he had seemed more present and engaged with their family than he had been in years, had been because he had finally made a choice to commit fully to their life together. Amanda made a decision that surprised even herself. She decided to be open with Sophie and Jake, in age-appropriate ways, about who their father really was. When Sophie, who was now 8, asked why Amanda had been meeting with Daddy's friend Jordan, Amanda sat both children down and explained. Daddy had a part of himself that he didn't always know how to talk about, Amanda told them. He loved men and women, which is called being bisexual. He loved me and he loved you both very much, but he also had a friend named Jordan who was very important to him. Sophie thought about this for a moment. Like how I love both chocolate and vanilla ice cream? Amanda smiled despite her tears. Kind of like that, sweetie. As time went on, Amanda, Jordan, and the children formed an unusual but loving extended family. Jordan became Uncle Jordan to Sophie and Jake, and he shared stories about their father that gave them a fuller picture of who Michael had been. Amanda also began attending a support group for spouses who had discovered their partners were LGBTQ+ after marriage or death. She found a community of people who understood the complex mix of emotions she was experiencing: grief, betrayal, love, and acceptance all tangled together. I'm not going to lie and say I'm not hurt by the deception, Amanda told the group during one meeting. But I'm also trying to understand how difficult it must have been for Michael to live his life feeling like he couldn't be fully himself. He was a product of a time and culture that told him his sexuality was something to be ashamed of, and he carried that shame until the day he died. 1 year after finding the messages on Michael's phone, Amanda organized a memorial service for Michael that celebrated all aspects of who he had been. Family and friends who had known Michael as a husband and father were there, but so was Jordan and several of Michael's LGBTQ+ friends who Amanda had never met before. Amanda spoke at the service, telling the truth about Michael's struggles and his journey. Michael wasn't perfect, she said. He made mistakes, he kept secrets, and he hurt people he loved. But he was also a person trying his best to navigate a complicated situation in a world that didn't always make space for people like him. He was my husband, he was my children's father, and he was a bisexual man who struggled with his identity in a culture that told him he couldn't be both those things at once. The speech was controversial among some of Michael's more conservative family members, but it was also healing for Amanda and for many others who attended. Several people came up to Amanda afterward to thank her for her honesty, and to share their own stories of struggling with identity and acceptance. Today, Amanda is 37 years old and has found a new path forward. She has started a blog and podcast called After the Secret, where she talks about her experience discovering Michael's hidden life and the journey of healing and understanding that followed. She has become an advocate for LGBTQ+ rights and for better support systems for people struggling with their sexual identity, especially those in marriages where they feel they can't be open about who they are. Jordan remains a part of Sophie and Jake's lives, and Amanda is grateful for his presence. He loved their father in a way that was real and meaningful, Amanda says. My children deserve to know all the people who loved their dad, and Jordan is one of those people. Sophie and Jake, now 9 and 7, are growing up with a more nuanced understanding of love, identity, and family than many children their age. They know their father loved them, they know he struggled with parts of himself he found hard to accept, and they know that families can take many different forms. Daddy made some mistakes, Sophie told a school counselor during a session about family structures. But he was trying his best. That's what Mommy says. And Uncle Jordan says he was one of the bravest people he knew, even when he was scared. Amanda has also worked to educate herself about bisexuality and the unique challenges that bisexual people face, particularly in maintaining their identity within straight-appearing relationships. She has connected with LGBTQ+ organizations and has become a volunteer speaker about the importance of creating space for people to be authentic about their sexuality, even in committed relationships. I wish Michael had felt safe enough to tell me the truth while he was alive, Amanda reflects in a recent podcast episode. I wish we had lived in a world where he didn't feel like he had to choose between being authentic and being a husband and father. I think about what our marriage might have looked like if he had been able to be honest with me from the beginning, and while I know it would have been complicated, I think we could have found a way to make it work. The story of Amanda and Michael Richards serves as a powerful reminder of the damage that shame and secrecy can do to individuals and relationships, and of the importance of creating a culture where people feel safe being honest about who they are. It's also a story about the complexity of love, the messiness of real human relationships, and the possibility of finding understanding and compassion even in the midst of pain and betrayal. Amanda keeps Michael's letter and journal in a safe place, planning to share them with Sophie and Jake when they're old enough to fully understand their father's struggle. She wants her children to know that their father loved them completely, that he struggled with parts of himself he found hard to accept, and that his story is part of their story too. The truth I discovered in Michael's phone could have destroyed me, Amanda says. And for a while, it almost did. But ultimately, understanding who Michael really was, all of him, not just the parts he showed me, has helped me heal and move forward. It's also made me a better parent, because I want my children to grow up knowing they can be honest about who they are, whatever that means for them. The messages on Michael's phone were supposed to be secret, buried in encrypted apps that would never be discovered. But sometimes secrets have a way of coming to light, and sometimes the truth, no matter how painful, is ultimately more healing than the lies we tell ourselves and each other. Sometimes the people we love are more complicated than we ever imagined, and sometimes discovering their secrets after they're gone can either destroy us or help us understand them, and ourselves, in ways we never thought possible.
Don't forget to like the videos and subscribe to the channel for more short stories.